Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here I want to explain my lesson plan. Okay, first is name of teacher is Syifa Mardatillah SPD, and name of school is Junior High School H Batu Kajang. The subject is English. The grade is age. The topic about Come to My Birthday Please, chapter 4, and text type is interpersonal text. The skill I use is writing and speaking, and time allocation is 1 times 15 minutes. Okay, the core competence here that the core competence that decided by the government, and I think I don't explain again. Okay, next about basic competence and indicator of competent achievement. First is 3.4 is to apply social functions, text structure, and linguistic element of oral and written interpersonal interaction text that involve actions, orders, invites, requests permission, and respond to them according to the context of their use. Okay, the indicator of competent achievement is first 3.4.1 to identify structure of interpersonal text about come and join in inviting, and second is 3.4.2 to different structure of interpersonal text about come and join in inviting. Okay, the second basic competence is 4.4 to compile text interpersonal interaction written and very short and simple, which involve the act for asking, inviting, asking for permission, and responding to it by paying attention to social functions, the text structure, and linguistic elements that are correct and in context. Okay, the indicator is 4.4.1 to perform interpersonal text conversation about inviting with their friends in front of class. Okay, the next is learning objective. Here I use the first. The student will be able to analyze interpersonal text with commanding chalk give the picture about inviting. And second, the student will be able to communicate through asking for permission about commanding and inviting use come and join. Okay, next is attitude values focus. The first is religious, and the second is creative. The third is responsibility, and the fourth is tolerant. Okay, the next is learning material. The first is regular learning material. In fact, R is starting and responding, accept or unaccept. And second is concept. R is social function, and an interpersonal text about requesting for inviting is a request, a solicitation, or an attempt to get another person to join you at a specific event. Okay, here there is a picture of inviting someone and a dialogue about to invite someone to come to your party. Okay, next is principle. The first is generic structure. There is receiver, body of invitation, subject, day or date, time, place, and the last sender or from. And dominant language features is using simple present tense. And the procedure here is communicate interpersonal text about inviting to ask permission with their friends. And the next is learning material for remedial and enrichment. You can see in my lesson plan. Okay, the next is learning method. The first is scientific approach, and second is learning model, CLT, communicative language teaching. And next is learning media. The first is LCD projector, and the second is laptop. The third is textbook, and the last is picture. Okay, the next is learning sources. The first is Kementerian Pendidikan and Kebudayaan 2017. And the second is picture. The third is module or learning materials, and fourth is internet, and the last is another relevant sources. Okay, the next I want to explain about teaching and learning activity. Okay, the first is opening activity, and the time is 2 minutes. First is orientation, doing the opening by reciting salam and praying to start the lesson. This is too religious. So is a perception connecting the learning materials or them or activities that will be done to the student. And the third is motivation, giving the description of the benefit to learn the materials. And the last is giving the references, telling the student about the materials that will be discussed. And next is main activity for 12 minutes. First is simulation about literature activities. The teacher by doing some ways. First is viewing without or with tools, such as display relevant picture or photos or videos. The third is observing, showing picture from interpersonal text in front of inviting about a simple dialogue as an example. And the third is reading. Students are asked to read material from textbook or other sporting book from the internet or related material and interpersonal text in front of inviting. And the last is listening. The students are asked to listen to the material given by the teacher which is related to an interpersonal text in front of inviting on chapter 4, page 45, and create a simple dialogue about inviting. Next, about problem statement or question or problem identification about critical thinking. The teacher gives students the opportunity to identify as many questions. Okay, the teacher asking the question. The first is the meaning of inviting is the generic structure and dominant language feature of inviting are, and many steps for inviting someone be polite are. Okay, the next is data collection about collaboration and critical thinking. Here, students are asked to explore their knowledge by reading reference books about how to make structure a simple dialogue in front of inviting that is good, interesting, and precise. And representing. Here about learners do the following activities. Especially the student work in pairs to analyze the general functions, the general, functional, and dominant language features of the inviting based on the original poster, and the student discuss it with other friends. And the student exchange information about how to invite someone be polite in front of inviting. Okay, next is data processing. There are critical thinking. Students in their group discuss processing the observational data. So they discuss about how to identify structure of interpersonal text in front of inviting, about making a simple dialogue, and then how to describe interpersonal text in front of inviting, about a simple dialogue according to the structure, and the last, how to make a simple dialogue about inviting that are interesting and precise. Okay, the next is verification. There are critical thinking, and the student present in front of class there about their own simple dialogue about inviting, and include with the student and teacher discuss together about the simple dialogue about inviting that have been made by the student. Okay, next is generalization about communication. Students are discussed to summarize about a simple dialogue about inviting that are interesting and precise. And the last is closing activity for 1 minute. Okay, the student making summary creativity with the guidance of the teacher about the important point, and the teacher checking student work complete immediately and give award to group that have good performance and collaboration. Okay, the next is assessment, remedial, and enrichment. First is assessment technique. There is 3 kinds. Okay, the first is affective or spiritual and social. There is observation or journal. The best character the teacher want in the class is religious. So next is creative, responsibility, and the last is tolerant. And the second assessment technique is cognitive. The teacher use is spoken test. And the last of assessment is psychomotor. For performance, the teacher use writing and speaking skill. And if you want to see, you can see my lesson plan. This is a rubric of writing and speaking skill. Okay, I think enough from me. And sorry for my mistake. The last I say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.